Hi, my name is Leslie Wise, and this is After the Anchor podcast. First and foremost, I want to take a minute and just say thank you so much because I know that you could be doing anything else right now, but you have found me somehow, and you're either listening in your car or your kitchen. Maybe you're at home. I just really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your day to hear what we have to say. And I just also want to say thank you so much to my guest, Laurie, who is my neighbor, my friend, and she is a professional in the medical field. And I value a lot of her information. I value all of her information. She's helped me in so many ways change my life, literally, by just informing me and giving me opportunities to go to the next level. Again, they're just opportunities. You have to take those opportunities and you have to believe in yourself that you can do hard things, good things for yourself too. But just wanted to say thank you first and foremost because I have not done that for my other podcasts. And that was something that was really, really bothering me at the beginning when I left the podcast the other day. I was like, I haven't even said thank you to, like, I've said thank you to you. I've said thank you to my other guests. But honestly, it's like, man, you're listening for an hour to me, or at least 20 minutes, whatever it is. So on that note, we did not get to finish everything from our last podcast. We talked about hormones. We talked about perimenopause, menopause, all of that kind of stuff. And there was still so much left over that we're here today. Laurie, can you introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners?
I can. Like Leslie said, my name is Laurie Model. I am Leslie's neighbor and friend. I don't know how long we've been neighbors. For like 7 years?
We moved in, we bought our house in December of 2018.
I guessed right. Yeah. So for almost 7 years, we've been neighbors, and I am a physician assistant. I have specialized for over 20 years in infectious diseases, specifically treating HIV and hepatitis C. However, over the last several years, I became increasingly interested in the space of women's hormone health. I found that there was a great disparity in practitioners that really know anything about women's midlife hormone health, which is sad because when we come of age, we go through puberty and we have pediatricians that kind of like walk us through all of those stages. Well, they walk your parents through all of the stages.
They look at your body and they
look at your body and they tell you what stage of puberty you're in. Yep, that is totally true. And I've got teenagers right now, and that's a funny little thing that happens at the pediatrician. But then, you get a little bit older and you start having woman exams, and you start having pap smears, and you start having breast exams. And then you start having babies, and, these wonderful doctors called OBGYNs deliver your babies. And they continue monitoring you for cancers. You start doing breast cancer screening, and, maybe you have to have an ablation because you're bleeding too much, or maybe you have to have your uterus out because you've got, uterine cancer. And all of these practitioners do all of these wonderful things for women leading up to midlife. Yeah. But once it comes to the hormonal health changes of midlife, like I said, there's really a disparity of knowledge, and not a lot of clinicians are ever trained in it more than like an hour to like 6 hours max in their entire training. So it kind of led me to a space where I started learning more and more about this. And hopefully maybe in my next phase of my career, when I've got, this HIV medicine part of my life tied up with a little bow, then I'll transition fully to that. So, but first and foremost, right now, I'm a boy mama and just working on getting those kiddos raised up and graduated.
That's hard.
It's so hard. It's the hardest.
We've got 4 out of the house, my son, and we're not even in our apartment for, I guess we're in our apartment for 2 weeks now. And it's, I have a feeling that I'm not done with my work for a while. And that's also part of the thing. Like, there's what to expect when you're expecting, what to expect the first 2 years. There's also not that book that comes out that's kind of like a comprehensive, here's what you do with teenagers, here's what you do.
And why is teenagers always coinciding with perimenopause or menopause? Like, it's the worst design flaw of humankind.
It is.
The worst.
It is. And on that note, stress from kids, stress from work, stress from environment, just, the air quality around us. I want to talk about something that stress really does do. It plays into your hormones, and it also wrecks your tissue, like the elasticity of your skin. And I think that's because of all the chemicals that you dump when you're stressed. I think it just really breaks down, and, obviously the carcinogens and everything in the air. But
yeah.
Where I'm going with that, and since part of this is going to be about hormone health, and we're going to talk about bioactive peptides. And that has to do with the kind of a little bit more fun part about learning this stuff is how we can do things. It's not always it's not about what is going so wrong in life. It's about the answers. What are we going to find?
What else can we add? How can we help ourselves?
Help ourselves. What supplement our lives. We supplement our lives by going and getting whatever it is, nails, massages, maybe it's the gym, maybe it's workout supplements, people always used to complain, my boyfriend, he just has 50 different protein powders and he's buying these creatines. I get it now. He knew he had to supplement in order to get the results in the gym that he wanted. But to me, it was just like, oh, you just want to take more crap. You just want to buy crap.
Right.
No.
Because we're 20 or early 30s and we're just like, it's fine. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, I actually had that exact same aha moment. So I shared an office with another physician assistant who was, I don't know, probably 7 years older than me. So he was probably right about 50 when we shared an office, and he was jacked. So he was in the military before he actually probably became a PA in the military, but that's how he became a PA. And, he still was just this jacked guy. And one day he brought all of his supplements in. He's like, oh, I forgot to take these. I just brought them in. I was appalled. I was just like, why are you putting so many things in your body? And he's like, why would I not? And I was just like, oh, I have no idea. I don't understand. Flash forward like 5 years later, and I'm like, oh, all the supplements. I totally understand. When your body starts aging at a more rapid rate,
you lose it.
Yeah, you don't want it to. No. You have to do it. And I like to call supplements, good supplements, I like to call them optimizers.
That is a really good word.
I love that word.
I like vocabulary words that I don't use on, I can't come optimizers. Yeah. That's a really good one. I feel
like really good supplements are optimizers.
Well, so speaking of optimizers, and we're going to hit on this mostly at the end, but the other day, I ate a taco, and that is the second time I've burped.
Sorry.
It's not the first time I burped in a podcast, but it's terrible. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I met you in the middle of the pandemic, and I really didn't meet you. Our kids, we were using your fishing pier, whatever your husband was building. Such a nice little spot for the kids to fish off of. So I got to know your husband a little bit more than you.
Which is the story of our whole neighborhood, but yeah.
It makes total sense this way, because I was always like, I really hope this lady doesn't think that I'm trying to take
my
her
husband's genuinely just nicer than me. He's more friendly.
Well, and then you were outside.
He's never met a stranger.
You were playing with the kids, badminton, and I was still a smoker.
Really?
Yeah, you were playing something. You had put something up in the... Now, also looking back, you were not into this.
Grammy must have been there, because there is no badminton unless Grammy Mac is there.
There was something. You had put a thing with and it wasn't tennis, because the grass was...
No, my mom, badminton.
You did not look like you were... No. You really could care less if you were there for the kids, 100%. Yeah. And so I spent some time with you, and then I did spend time with you because we carpooled, and I got to know you through Beachbody Business, which is where I got my I learned how women were not all horrible women. I literally thought that there was going to be something sneaky that was going to come out of you at any point in time, and you were going to be talking about me to other people because that's what I had experienced. That's all I've experienced. And if I didn't have that, I pushed it away because I was part of that. I had to be that way too. Or, you become your environment, and it's a very lonely place. So you really do. And then you hear from what your other friends, what could she have in common with you? What could you have in common with me? And then you do start to really, and so when I had met all of your friends and that community in Chicago, it was like the wool, I don't know, blinders had been taken off.
It was like 40 of us.
Yeah, but I wasn't, after 30 minutes, I just go, you know what? I'm so glad none of the people from my life are here because they would ruin this. It would have been, can you believe how fake those women are? Can you believe, oh my gosh, they all love each other? Oh my gosh. How can you love someone after only meeting them for a week? And I'm like, I don't know, because they heard their story and we're all just figuring it out. It doesn't matter if you're professional making 6 figures or if you're a mother not even paying your bills and you've got a deadbeat boyfriend who there's no judgment. There was no judgment and there was no talking about it. It was all about uplifting. Come and join the 6 a.m. call. Come and do this.
Let's work out with us.
Come and work out with us. And it's embarrassing, quite honestly, that I had such I was really the toxic one for having those thoughts. But anyway, I met you face to face and I spent time with you, and you've always looked amazing. But, that's what we always do with women. We're like, what does she do? She doesn't have any age spots.
And of course, I think the same of you. So,
well, she doesn't have this. And what is she doing for her teeth? Why are they so
have any age spots,
You don't have age spots. You do not. And your melasma. Did you have melasma when you were pregnant?
I've never had melasma.
I got it after Penelope pregnancy.
But I can tell you how I got rid of my age spots.
Lemon juice?
No.
Tell me it's that easy. And sugar? What?
No, I mean, it's super easy. So when I was 18, me and my best girlfriend from high school went on senior spring break. And we put beta carotene, the accelerator all over our body.
Yeah.
So we could get as tan as humanly possible because we went and got our belly buttons pierced. And we needed to be super tan when we went back to school and we're showing off our bellies, right? So 100%, it's 12 hours a day laying out in the beta carotene. No sunscreen whatsoever. I got I burnt my forehead to an absolute crisp, to the point where it was beet red. And I guess we were probably there for 8 days straight or whatever. And this was on day 1 or day 2. It peeled off and I continued to bake myself to the point where once I got back at some point that year, I developed a huge patch of discoloration from.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was skin damage. It was skin damage. I completely fried myself. So I had that and lots of other patches for my whole adult life. And then finally, when my husband and I were both done with training and being broke as a joke forever, we had moved to Dallas. He got his first real job. He's a cardiologist. And I was just like, what do I do? I'm going to get rid of this. It was 1 session of IPL that got rid of all of my hyperpigmentation. And now I just do it once a year. Intense Pulse Light.
That's the trick. You do it once a year. What is your downtime?
None. There's no downtime. It hurts. It doesn't feel great. It's kind of the same thing as, so imagine me 9 months pregnant in Chicago, waddling around the wards of Cook County Hospital during the day, and at night to make ends meet, zapping people, doing laser hair removal. It's the same thing. IPL is just a different wavelength.
That is the word. It's IPL. That's what that's what you used to get. People would do IPL for their legs.
Yeah, and it's just a different wavelength. And I get it done on my face, and I think I had it done maybe 2 or 3 times that first year to get rid of it. And then I do it once a year ever since. That's it.
It's easy. See, I really appreciate you saying that because I'm around a lot of women, even esthetician, nurse practitioner injectors.
Yeah, nurse injectors, yeah.
And it's like, I've been walking around with these age spots. I have 3 age spots. And it's just, it's just now I'm like, it's part of my identity. It's like if I had a facial mole or if I had a scar on my face, it is just part of me now. But none of them are it's just like, let's do this.
Yeah, it's
let's
easy.
do this.
Stop.
Why, like, I feel like it's gatekeeping almost, but you just did it. You
never
just,
gatekeep.
no, of course you didn't. You just didn't.
I tell everybody, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's super easy. And so what happens is so this patch was huge and it did turn into tiny little like brown and brownish black spots, and then they just flaked off. But there was no downtime in terms of like pain,
like the sloughing of the skin off.
Sloughing.
I've done all of this.
Literally, it was just like tiny little patches of black.
Okay, IPL
peeled off.
It's
IPL.
going.
I think there's another term for it now too. BBL? I don't know. I don't do a set.
It's not.
No, that was not it.
It's the BBL.
That's not it. But there's something.
Brazilian booty.
Yeah. But there's
lift,
a broad BBL. No, I think there's 2 things.
That's fun. I'm going to look it up.
Broadband, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, your skin was good skin. And the other day when we were in the kitchen, we were closer than this, and you were talking about these bioactive peptides, and it was kind of rude because I was just like, I was not really listening, but I was. And then I'm like, what? Okay. So I really think that, everything that you've done is amazing, but if you haven't really done anything different, I think it has a lot to do, because now more than ever do I believe that what we put in our bodies has a huge, profound effect on what happens on the outside of us.
100%. So like in all like transparency, I have gotten Botox for again, ever since I lived in Dallas, maybe 13 years or whatever. So for a long time. So like you said, nothing's changed. I've had IPL for 13 years. I've done Botox for 13 years, but you're right. My skin does look different. And to the point where last time I went to my injector, she's just like, Laurie, you usually come every 3 months, and it's been 6 months. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice that I needed my regular Botox for a lot longer. And she said, and your skin looks fabulous. And that's high praise from, your esthetician or your injector. She's like, this is the best it's ever looked.
It's really plump. And I was telling you that your videos do not do you justice, because I see your videos and you talk about, you've been complimented, and I can see that people are complimentary because you're a very beautiful woman. But when I saw you face to face, I was like, man, your videos are crap quality, because
she's
it's
trying
just
to
not
mess with my
I was like, you need to put it on 4K
or whatever it is.
4K, because there's a dewy, there's a plumpness, there's a tautness to it that I noticed that some people have and some people don't. And I've also noticed people who have very clean eating, healthy lifestyles, and I'm not saying that you don't, but it's not like you abstain from alcohol or abstain
did we
from
follow me this weekend when I went to Hot Springs? I went to, oh my God, what was the name of it? Did you see my story?
Didn't.
Oh my God. Fat Bottom Girls, cupcakes.
Oh,
Cutest freaking cupcake shop ever. Fat Bottom Girls.
Yeah.
Best cupcake of my life. And of course, I ate 3.
Well, and apparently all that stuff is supposed to make your skin dull and lackluster.
So it's not like
sugar is the killer of all, which it is. It's not good. But so anyway, we'll get back to figuring out what your secret is. We did have some left. We had asked several questions about perimenopause and menopause. And we had more questions come in after we had done the last podcast. And
I get questions every day.
Yeah. So this will be a thing. It's up to y'all. If you have questions, I can come up with all the questions. But if you have women's health questions, if you submit them to me, I compile them. And when I have a good little amount, I have a guest on that will help give me the answers to those questions. That's what After the Anchor podcast. It's peer-led healing. Whatever you guys need questions answered about, you don't want to go to the doctor, you don't want to go to the therapist, you don't want new friends. You've diminished your social circle to nothing, and you are not interested in finding friendships to get information to talk to people about subjects about. You're just looking for tools and knowledge and answers. You submit your stuff to After the Anchor. I will find the professionals. I'll find the people who are living in it at that moment.
Kelly Owens can be on your podcast. She's my PCP.
She's she does
she does ENT.
ENT.
But I literally just had an ENT consult with her. She saved me an ENT consult.
She saved my husband. Never saw her anything. I told on my stories that Curtis had what is that called?
Tinnitus?
Vertigo. And we didn't know it was vertigo, but I would talk about stuff. Yeah. And she said she gave us her recommendation on what to do, and I was like, that's the opposite of everything I've ever heard. And she goes, well, but he's not using this product. So it's like the habitual product if you use it over and over and over. But for him as a rescue, if he's traveling, which he does all the time, he's traveling for business and different elevations. So she's like, when you start to feel the symptoms coming on, use this product as needed. It's not like someone who's using it already every single night or day. That's totally different. So she goes, yeah, of course you can use those things. They're safe as needed.
Yep.
And so smart. He still has had vertigo, but he's been able to stop it in its tracks when he feels it coming. Okay. Yeah. It's typically when he wakes up with it that, well, it's too bad. It's not.
These are, a lot of things. Like one thing, that we probably aren't even going to get to today is like you start snoring more often in perimenopause and menopause, which is, what is actually happening to me. How embarrassing. But, Kelly.
That's not embarrassing.
First consult with me and, it's helping me walk through troubleshooting so that I said, okay, Cal, I just need to know, do I need to go to ENT? Do I need to go to an allergist? Or do I need to go to a sleep doctor? What's my first step? And she took a history from me like a good clinician does. And she told me what to do to basically troubleshoot it myself to figure out which specialist I need to go to. I was like, perfect.
That's all we need. Just tips and tools.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of us really don't want the answer. We want knowledge so we can apply it to our own personal experiences.
She saved me from going to the ENT and the ENT saying, no, you really need to see an allergist.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing, we're only as capable as we are, but so that's why it takes a village. It really does take a village of to just figure it out. And having a village gets knocked on a lot too. It's like, well, you don't have to solve every problem. Well, life is a lot more pleasant when you're not living in a state that you don't have to. There's some things you can't help, some certain chronic pains you can't help, certain illnesses you can't help. But if you have the option, you just don't know what it is. That's where it's really nice. Yeah. So taking off, we're going to take the mask off. I'm 40 and I'm no longer going to smile for no reason. It's like, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood and everything. But the girl that just used to come in and just be like, hey, and try to get everybody in a great mood. What are we all doing? And she still exists in there. But it's almost like this last month, she kind of went away, really. It's like I had I just realized that I was performative, but I always had to be performative. And then I've been scared that if I'm not performative, then the people won't want to be my friend anymore, because I don't offer something to them. And so that also could be related to hormones.
It's 100% related to hormones. But here's the thing. Once you get to be totally postmenopausal, and I can say this with a decent amount of confidence because I see a lot of female patients that are in their 50s and 60s, the IDGAF aspect of your life is elevated. You just say what you feel, you're not performative, you don't care. Have you ever seen that lady on Instagram? She's talking about all of us that are menopausal, and she starts every reel off with We do not care.
Oh, yeah, the club.
She's
the We Don't Care Club.
Hilarious.
We don't care. This is the thing. This is part of the thing that I'm all learning about the podcast.
Oh my
so
God.
I'll find
She's
the
so
time
funny.
of what this is.
Yes.
And then I'll find that clip and
You
we're
have
going to
to
put it in
like,
here.
all you probably have to do is like hashtag We Do Not Care Club and all that stuff will come up.
Okay,
She's hilarious.
No, she is very funny. She's very funny.
But that's the way it is. Like once your like estrogen goes away for good, there's like a whole like I do not care
and you do
anymore.
And that's a crazy thing. Like I don't care, but I do.
But you still do.
Because then there's that guilt. It's like, oh, like where'd that girl go that did actually? But it's like, I don't know if she can sustain.
And I feel like this perimenopausal transition, like most people view it as, okay, it's a gateway to menopause and then it's kind of over. The party's over. Not for me. Like for me, this just like I get to become whoever I want to be all over again. And it might be completely different than the woman I became when I was 20, 22, whatever.
Well, there's definitely a question. There's definitely a question that goes to there. I did have a takeaway from that, which was the mask eventually does not come back because we just grow into our authentic selves. Yes. And what we get in return is real joy, grounded and deep connections instead of just surface. And it's like, I guess I just get scared. It's like, oh my gosh, I've lost so many people through boundaries. And it's like, I'm just going to keep losing because
I don't think I think that you have to take a step back and think, what do I have to gain?
Yeah, I like that perspective.
What do I have to gain? If you take the mask completely off, you never put it back on, and you just step into your true authentic self and let everybody know.
My therapist said this yesterday. And I didn't realize how badly it was. I'm so glad that I'm not thinking about this morning because it was awful. But we were talking and she was like, do you know who you are? She said, Leslie, do you know who you are? And I was like, no, I don't know. And I know who I am, but really it was such an in my face that it had been this. It's not a facade because it is authentic. I am that really deep, caring girl, but it's almost like I've cared so much that I haven't cared and there's nothing left for myself. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, fuck, I got to figure it out. Fuck, sorry. I mean, I can say what I want. It's my podcast.
It's your podcast. That's right. That's right.
But so on those weird feelings, let's go to some of the new questions that we were given. One of the questions was, I feel fine with no symptoms. Do I still need hormone therapy? Like she's perimenopause, she's menopause, she's postmenopause. She doesn't have any symptoms. Should she take it for health? Like, does she need those hormones to sustain good health?
Yeah, I love this question because I actually hear this from a lot of my female patients. You know, we talk about, I always, like in medicine, they always ask you when your last menstrual period was, right? Like the medical assistant or whatever doing the intake, when was your last menstrual period? And it's for a reason. Like when we're younger, it's like maybe she's pregnant. Maybe, you know, she has some sort of anovulation. And then as we get older, it's kind of like, okay, is she in menopause? You know, so these conversations are natural. Like you see their last menstrual period wasn't for a couple of years. Like I'm going to ask, you know, if they have hot flashes or night sweats or mood swings or all of these traditional menopausal and perimenopausal symptoms. And if a woman's like, no, I haven't had a period for like 3 years and I don't even remember, like everybody talks about menopause and it's terrible and, you know, all these things. And like, I don't even remember having hot flashes. And then I say, well, do you know very much about hormone replacement therapy? Is it something you have considered? And most women are very much like, no, I don't have any symptoms. Why would I consider it? And I love that question because I'm never here to convince someone that they need to take hormones because that is a very personal decision. Yeah. Every single woman needs to decide if hormones are right for them. But I am someone that wants every single woman around me, whether it's my patient, whether it's my next door neighbor, whether it's my friend or my follower, I want every single woman to know their options. So I think that that's where this important discussion comes in. And the reason why I love it is because there's several things that hormones do for us. So I actually am gonna, this is something I have been faced with several times just in the last couple of weeks. A lot of my female friends are like, they show me their labs all the time, right? And they're like, my cholesterol is high and it's never been high before in my entire life. So one thing that I literally never knew my entire medical career until I started taking hormone health specific courses is that estrogen is cardioprotective. So that means that when we have estrogen circulating in our body, it's protecting our heart.
Oh, I was like, what does that mean,
Yes.
cardioprotective?
No, that's that.
Estrogen.
Yeah. Estrogen is protecting our heart.
Okay.
So think about it this way.
Oh.
You hear about men in their 30s and 40s and certainly 50s that have heart attacks.
You
and
hear
they have
this, men.
strokes. They have high cholesterol. They have hypertension. They have all of these things when they're younger.
30s.
Yeah, 30s, 40s. You don't generally hear much about women having hypertension, high cholesterol, heart attacks, strokes until after 50, do you?
That's when they say that we're susceptible to heart attacks and strokes when we're watching the signs.
So once our estrogen receptors are depleted of all estrogen, we don't have estrogen in our body anymore. We've lost that cardioprotective effect, which means that now we're more susceptible for our cholesterol to go up and our hypertension to happen and heart attacks and all of these things. So one of the reasons why it's super important to think about whether you want to take hormones or not, even if you don't have any symptoms, is it because it actually protects your heart. It protects your cardiovascular disease. So if you're within 10 years of menopause, meaning, say, just making the math easy, your last period was when you were 50 and you're 60 years old or below, we have really good research, even from the Women's Health Initiative, that terrible study that was totally misinterpreted that we talked about last time. We have good research that shows that our heart is protected when we give estrogen. So if we start estrogen in that period between the first day of postmenopause and any time in between those 10 years, it's going to protect your heart from heart attacks and heart disease, hypertension, all that stuff. That's important. That's an important thing to know. That's an important decision.
I'm looking. I have my estrogen. I literally pulled this all together. I have like no estradiol. Is that estrogen?
Estradiol, yep.
It was very high in 2018. And look, I'm going to show it to you. And then it goes, and I'm going to post that on there. I'm going to post this chart.
You're going to find out that I need my readers for everything. And I can't.
Oh, you can zoom. It's at the top one.
The top one?
Yeah.
Oh, oops, I lost it. But I saw it.
Anyway,
Yeah. So
I was looking at
but
that.
You're not yet postmenopausal, which is great because you've got lots of time to decide if estrogen is something that you want to take. Here's the thing that we know without a shadow of a doubt. Estradiol specifically, is FDA approved for the prevention of bone loss. It's FDA approved. So really, every single woman on the planet that is perimenopausal or postmenopausal technically can have estrogen if they want it because it's FDA approved to prevent bone loss. Like, you don't need to be having crazy symptoms to say, I don't want osteoporosis.
Yeah, I don't want to break bones every time I fall.
You don't want to break bones.
Yeah.
You don't want to break bones. So estrogen is the number one thing that you can do to protect your bones from osteopenia and osteoporosis, which is so super important. And I'm going to circle back around to that in just a second. Because one of the other things that estrogen is really good at preventing is genitourinary syndrome of menopause. Say that 5 times fast.
Blah, blah, blah.
Just kidding. You don't have to. What that means is all of the urinary symptoms and all of the vaginal symptoms that come when we're estrogen depleted, estrogen prevents that from happening.
Let me pull my vagina out.
Yeah. Pull out the vagina. Show them where the bladder is in relationship to the vagina. They're like all right there.
Literally.
They're sitting on top of each other.
And I never had an idea that this is how it was constructed.
They share a wall.
Yeah.
So if you are taking estrogen, whether it's systemic, which means that goes through your bloodstream, or even if you just do it vaginally, which is super, super, super safe, that's protecting the genital and the urinary syndrome from frequent urinary tract infections, dry vagina, painful sex.
When you're older, the urinary tract infection can mimic things like, dementia type things.
Absolutely.
People think that their loved one is
so this is, I'm going to bring it all back
rock
around.
bottom. They've taken a turn for the worse. That's what I always hear.
And then they just had a UTI.
They were so great yesterday, and then today they don't even know who they are. And I'm always like, they have a urinary tract infection. But I don't even know how that's like not even caught nowadays, but whatever.
Because not very many clinicians know that just by giving a simple vaginal estradiol cream, you can prevent that. So here's the thing. 2 of the very most common reasons for death in older women, say, I don't know about 70s, but let's just say 80s, are a fall that results in a hip fracture, or a urinary tract infection that turns into urosepsis, which means it gets in your bloodstream and you become septic and you could die from it. Those are 2 of the most common reasons for death. Estrogen can prevent both of those.
Yeah.
That's important to know.
Yeah, at least to be informed
It's
and
important to know.
Especially in a way where it's understandable.
Yeah.
And you have a good way of explaining it and making it to where it's under layman's terms. That's what I always say. Can you explain that in layman's terms for me?
In layman's terms. And then the last thing is that
it's on there. There's one of these. Go ahead. What was the last thing?
The last thing is there's not enough research yet to definitively prove it, but there's a lot of studies coming out that is showing that women who are on estrogen replacement are less likely to have diabetes. I think that's super important.
That is also very super important.
That's super important.
Bone loss prevention, when to start estrogen, dose and duration, which obviously you can answer that. You just really went into how that.
So the answer for when to start is actually super interesting, and I just learned it the other day. So the biggest, I don't know how to say this, the time where you're most rapidly losing bone mass is the 2 years before menopause.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that's happening.
Which is crazy because nobody knows when they're 2 years from menopause, because menopause is one day. Remember last time I said, do you remember what I said?
It was the last time of your period.
Your very last period. And you're never going to know that until you look back a year on the calendar and say, I haven't had a period for a year. I'm postmenopausal. Congratulations. We throw a party.
And you didn't know that for 2 years you were losing bone?
I didn't know. I really thought that the time of greatest bone loss was after all of the estrogen had left the building, but apparently that's not the case. And so it's important to kind of know where you're at, like to be tracking your periods.
Why don't they give pamphlets out? Like, you know how when your kid gets an immunization,
they give you a pamphlet.
They give you the pamphlet. Where's the pamphlets with all of this like information? I know that requires printing and nobody wants to print papers anymore. So it's all QRs and online,
or like how you get like a welcome to Medicare pamphlet.
Yeah. Or when you go home from the hospital with a baby. Yeah. But serious, for real.
Yeah. I never got one.
Because I mean, even I'd say when you turn 30, there should start to be dialogue coming out in 33, more dialogue and information.
I genuinely think that will happen in the next 10 years. I think that I don't have a daughter, but our daughter's generation, I think will get a lot more information leading up to perimenopause, because I think that we're going to find the longer that clinicians are really interested in this, I think that we're going to find that there's a lot of prevention we can do in that perimenopause state before we ever hit menopause, and we're just not there yet. So us Gen Xers, are you Gen X or are you a young millennial or old millennial? We're like both
I'm
right
1982. I don't know. I think
you might be an old millennial, and I'm a young Gen Xer.
I don't know. I was around for the internet, the age,
I was around for the internet. Me too.
I don't know which one I am. I felt like I was like, I'm not a millennial. But that's not nice to millennials. Nothing's wrong with that. But I always thought that millennials got like you don't work hard and you don't.
And they have.
And I was like, that was working when I was very young now. But I'm a what? Yeah.
Yeah. We're in betweeners.
We're those basically. One of those, yeah.
But unfortunately, it's just now kind of picking up steam to the point where even when I was early perimenopause, nobody prepared me for that.
Yeah. We don't want our daughters. Like, this is why it's like my therapist and I talk about doing this for our kids. Like, I'm not doing all of this work for myself. If I didn't have children, I would just be batshit crazy and I'd be fine with it because that's the only person that handles my consequences. But I can't do this. I can't not inform my daughter.
Right.
I've got to have all the information for her and I just want to be part of it. And I appreciate you for wanting to be part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, apparently I have no eggs in the basket. I don't have any daughters. I literally have no eggs in the basket.
I have some on ice. I have some on ice somewhere in a lab in Dallas, but
mine are gone.
They're staying there. Connection between menopause and midlife divorce. This question got me so hard because it is something that is constantly on my mind, not for myself, but just for if I wasn't in the situation with my relationship with my husband, I would definitely be thinking that
something's wrong with
I
your
would be wanting to, something's wrong with the relationship. Something is wrong with the relationship.
I think
even if he's an angel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're off. We're off.
It doesn't matter. I think that most divorces happen in midlife for a reason. You don't see either they happen in the very beginning of their relationship. You're going to have some of those.
Yeah.
But it's very few. Most divorces happen in midlife. And I've listened to various mental health professionals say that they would be hard pressed to say that most divorces weren't somehow connected with the menopausal transition, which is sad. And it just means that we need to do a better job of educating our men.
What's coming up.
Of what's going on. And I have seen these male influencers. I don't know who they are. I don't even think they're doctors. But I love that they're like, support your wife. Like, do these things.
I knew exactly who you were talking about. And you know what they get? They get a lot of good loving. Those dudes are getting the back rubs. They're getting when you have someone who is interested in figuring out how to best support you, because I can't imagine what it would be like to be a husband. Like Curtis is like, you look like you've been crying. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just hollow. I'm empty.
I think that the biggest complaint of women that don't yet know that they're in perimenopause is that initial complaint is, I just don't feel like myself anymore, to their clinician.
I feel crazy.
So if they are feeling like that and that's what they're telling their providers, like, how are they acting at home? They're not acting like themselves. So obviously the relationship is different. Likely there's a decrease in libido on the female's side, which probably causes tension in the relationship. They may not even feel like they like their spouse anymore, but turns out that they never hated them to begin with. It was just that their estrogen was like going like this. So it was making them feel like they had bipolar disorder and everything was terrible.
Which is what I have to go get because I don't have any more chill.
Yeah, we talked about that last time and it's still at the pharmacy.
It is still at the pharmacy, but it will be used tomorrow morning for the first time.
It will be used at night.
At nighttime.
It's at bedtime.
It will be used tonight for the first time. And because there is no chill. And now I understand whenever I'm like crashing out, I can say to myself, Leslie, you feel hormonal. This is the fact that you don't have any progesterone. And then I can have accountability. Even though I'm not shaming myself for it, I can be like, it's not him. It's not the children. It's not even my brain. And my body is experiencing something natural. So go do your tools.
Yep.
And then work your way through it. And then it's okay. And that way you at least you have an answer to the madness.
Yep.
Because the madness, it's enough, especially if you have experienced any sort of PTSD, CPTSD, if you have complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, this is going to rock your world. It is going to, especially if you have no understanding of how it all works together. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to go and commit yourself because you're just a danger to your mind. You're a danger to yourself. I don't even know how to explain it because you feel like you're just not helpful. You feel like you're in the way. You feel like you can't get anything right. Your kids are in the hardest part of their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't know that it was going to happen like this. But if there'd been language like, well, you're having your kids at 25, your kids are going to be 30, you're going to be 35 when your kids are 10, going through pre-puberty. And by the way, you'll probably also be experiencing perimenopause symptoms.
Yep.
It doesn't mean anything to you now, but put that in your
because
memory
everything's
bank.
happy and great when you're 25.
And then you have a doctor in 5 years, your pediatrician. Well, we know that your kid's in puberty. How are you? Do you have, I know you're 35. I know you're 38. How are you coping with this? Because your hormones, how is this correlating? Because I can tell you, if mom can't chill, she can't chill to the parent, to the child. And then the child has no chill.
Right.
And so if the pediatrician wants to help the child too, they can also look at where the problem is at home with the support, the support system.
And the even bigger problem is there are probably the vast majority of Americans, and probably all around the world, people that actually don't even know what menopause is.
No.
So when I explain to any of my patients what's going on with them, the majority of them, I have a lot of patients that have immigrated from Africa. They have no idea, none whatsoever, that what's going on with their body is a natural progression of basically just all of your hormones going to a state of not being there at all anymore. They have no idea. And when I explain it to them, they're just like, relief. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Answers.
Nothing's like actually wrong with me. I don't need to go to an orthopedist because my shoulder's stuck. Like, yeah, maybe you still need to go to an
It's just like PMS. It's like PMS, like you get it. Oh,
but
I got
everybody
it.
talks to you about that.
I got it. I'm in the luteal phase. I got it. Oh, I feel like having sex. I'm in my ovulation phase. I got it. There's no dialogue for that. I didn't even know what perimenopause was until I saw it on social media like a year ago.
Oh, wow.
I know what menopause, I heard about menopause, but I didn't.
You figured you were far away
I think
from it.
a friend of mine had mentioned perimenopause, but I always thought that she was just searching for some answers for her mental health problems. And so I'm like, we just have trauma. That's why we're crazy. But then it's like, no, I've done therapy for 5 years. I literally quit drinking alcohol for a year and a half. I'm exercising. I eat really well. It can't just be depression. Right. It cannot just be my trauma. It can't be the things that happened. It's got to be more. And then you find out it is, in fact.
Well, and then the problem is if you have a history of PTSD, complex PTSD, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, perimenopause and the fluctuations that your hormones are going through, it's going to exacerbate it. It's going to make it worse. Okay. So, it just really is, for lack of a better word, it's a shitstorm.
It should, like, my neighbor, Carrie, you've met, we were on the couch yesterday and we were talking about mental health, because that's what we always talk about, and women's health. And she's like, Leslie, and she was telling me face to face, and I'm like, you wait till you hear this podcast tomorrow. She was like, every time that you don't feel good, the doctors are like, let's write you this, let's write you that. And she's like, and they really don't ever test your hormones and they don't like check your brain. And I'm like, well, it's all very much tied together. And that is very true. And I think where a lot of us, maybe they always knew it. Maybe the older generation knew it. They didn't have way to talk about, they didn't have the internet. If they'd had that much internet, they might have been able to, step into that more. They just didn't talk about it.
But that's,
and my mom's like, I didn't have symptoms. Yeah. I didn't have hot flashes. I didn't have this. And I'm like, I beg to differ. I was a teenager living in that house. You had symptoms.
Right.
But I guess she thought that she was just crazy.
But you bring up a good point. So by and large, there are so many more prescriptions for SSRIs written during the perimenopause and menopause state than bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And for women who are feeling like their psychiatric symptoms are exacerbated, Or for women who have never experienced anxiety or depression and all of a sudden have it, especially, you've got to consider, if I start on hormones, will this regulate naturally? Because replacing the hormones in your body is a natural thing. It's not like putting another, a toxic medication into your body. It's replacing what your body's had for your whole life. But you're in a state of decline for your testosterone. You're in a state of decline for your progesterone. And all the while, your estrogen is going as high as it's ever gone and as low as it's ever gone. And it's on this roller coaster in this downward trend until it completely goes away. I mean, that's enough to make anybody feel crazy.
Yeah. And that made me feel so much better when you sat in the living room and you were telling me that and you were using your arms and you're like, this
That's the only way to describe it. That's how your estrogen does it.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that people are scared to talk to their doctors or to talk to professionals. I've said that over and over with you. They're like, can you explain that to me better? And I'm that girl. I'll be like, Laurie, that doesn't make any sense. What about someone who just doesn't understand? And you explain it in such a way that is, but it's so helpful. We're going to skip that one. Phantom periods or cycle-like symptoms post-menopausal.
Phantom periods. I don't know what that means.
Cycle-like symptoms are phantom periods.
So
I guess, for the
first couple years after you're postmenopausal, sometimes women can still have cycle-like symptoms. Sometimes women can still have, I don't know what a phantom period is.
I feel like if you're bleeding out of your vagina after you're postmenopausal, you should go to the doctor.
Yes, in most cases. But if it's in that first year or two, then it may, if you've been 5 years without a period, 10 years without a period, 20 years without a period, bleeding out of your vagina for any reason, absolutely go to your gynecologist. Yeah. But that first year or two, you could go 11 months without a period and be like, boom, I'm postmenopausal, everything's great. And then all of a sudden start spotting again and having symptoms. And
could you just be shedding anything left? I mean, the body's we're so weird on the inside. But even though these are empty now, even though this is empty, the uterus, is what we shed. Can there be anything left in here, like chicken skin looking stuff anything left over?
After a certain period of time. Really
I'm not speaking from experience.
Just kind of regulate itself. But with all that being said, I don't know if the person that asked this question might be on hormone replacement, because if you are, then again, when you first start it, you can have all of those symptoms. I actually explain it to my patients, when we start you on hormones, if you're already postmenopausal, you haven't had hormones for a while, putting hormones back in your body is almost going to maybe feel a little bit like puberty again. You know what I mean? You might start getting a little bit of vaginal discharge, which is normal. It's just the juices flowing,
Yeah.
Yeah. You might have a little bit of a headache. You might have a little bit of nauseousness, GI symptoms, all of these things that we kind of experienced when those hormones were first coming into play.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's what they're talking about.
So it's probably a little bit more helpful to get on them before you're completely done, but it's fine to get on them even after. You don't know.
It's totally fine. Yeah, it's totally fine after.
Changes in taste and smell.
Yes, you can absolutely, COVID aside, right? Now everything is just, screwed up because COVID causes changes in taste and smell. But certainly changes in your
cravings
hormones
and stuff might increase, or just you?
I think that I don't really know the science behind this, but I do believe that cravings for sweets especially increase in perimenopause and menopause, which is not great because our fat also redistributes from, the hips and booty and thigh region to the abdominal region, which makes it less safe for our heart health, which we already discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collagen loss, bladder, gut, joint issues. Is that kind of a sign of, losing elasticity
Those
in
were a
your
lot of
skin?
different systems all at once. So yes, estrogen. So there's estrogen receptors throughout our entire body. In that elasticity loss, so when all of a sudden you find yourself going this in the mirror, I do all the time. I'm
Same.
Oh,
We all think.
that's why people get
And then I'm always like,
facelifts.
just a tiny.
Like,
I'm always like, just a little bit.
Like, what do you do? Yes. So that's when your estrogen starts declining. And like when your estrogen is completely gone, like you really lose skin elasticity quite quickly. The good thing is if you replace the estrogen, then you are less likely to lose elasticity quickly. In fact, people actually have started putting estriol, which is one of the different types of estrogen our body makes. It's one of the very like mild estrogens on their face. You can get a prescription now for estriol for your face.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
And so do you think that it also affects like your gut health? Do you think it,
Yeah.
do you think it, maybe you feel more arthritic?
100%. There are
It's about to be
estrogen
winter.
receptors in your entire body.
We're going to be achy again real soon out. It's like just right around
But
the
you
corner.
replace those hormones and we can keep those
You should
aches and
feel.
pains.
And which hormone is it that's responsible for that one? Do you?
Honestly, I think testosterone plays a big role in the aches and pains. Like muscle aches, fatigue, just like general arthralgias, like testosterone can play a role. Estrogen definitely plays a role too. When you hear about frozen shoulder, that's where your shoulder like kind of stops moving to a certain range of motion. That's all estrogen.
Right.
And that's very common.
I'm not looking. I get that pain, but it's always when I'm in bed asleep and I'm like, oh no, but it's not. I'm like, oh, it's going to be frozen shoulder, but it's definitely not.
But before I was on testosterone replacement, my body just hurt constantly. I was in a constant state of body aches, and that was when I was still perimenopausal. I still had some estrogen, but the testosterone was completely gone. The progesterone was completely gone, and I know it was the testosterone that helped my my body aches. They were profound.
Could you develop new allergies or sensitivities triggered by hormone shifts?
Yes, but you can also develop new allergies or sensitivities at any time, regardless of your sex, regardless of your age. You can always be open to having new allergies and sensitivities, unfortunately. But more common, skin irritations. Like I have
a question.
Yeah.
When you're done with that.
I had skin sloughing. Literally. I have no better word for it than skin sloughing off of my legs at a snake's pace.
I love that though. So you were giving yourself like microderms.
I guess,
constantly.
but it was so bad, and I didn't know why. It was before I started educating.
Flaky?
It was so flaky.
So you just like touch it and you'd be like, you could feel, yeah. So do you think that
it was my hormones?
Do you think hormones might exasperate? And I don't have this, but all of a sudden I was thinking about Kim Kardashian, which I don't. This is so from long ago. She is someone who has the psoriasis. Do you think that psoriasis can become exasperated by hormonal shifts, which is something female, even though I don't know about it?
Right. I actually don't know the answer to that question.
She would have been about 35 when this crept up on her. 35, 30. She's a little older than me, so I would say 38 is when, because she just had her little daughter, the youngest one. And I'm thinking she was about 38, 35 whenever she was like stealing her sister's breast milk to put on her psoriasis.
Know, but you know what? I'm going to look it up.
Now I'm curious because if all of a sudden you're like, I have all these skin issues,
Correlation.
We know about the gums and teeth changes, oral and dental health.
Oh my gosh. I told this story on social media, probably almost a year ago. Loss in estrogen can absolutely cause periodontal disease to the point where you're losing teeth. Estrogen decline. I mean, this is a big one.
It's a big
and one that doesn't get talked very often. I mean, cardiovascular disease is so important, and diabetes is so important, and bone density is so important. But like, if you don't want really bad periodontal disease to the point where, like, I have known older women that have needed, grafts.
My mom.
Your mom needed a graft. And if she had been supplemented with estrogen, that may not have been necessary.
Yeah.
That gum recession. That's the word I was looking for.
Now I think about it, I'm like, the lady is just very, very, there was no need for her. She wasn't,
like she didn't eat bad all the dentists start telling you at about age 45, oh, you need to come. Like I can count on at least one hand how many friends I have that have been told they've got to be on the every 3 to 4 month plan now. I'm like,
that's like me too. Yeah, I should, but I'm not very good. I don't go to the dentist.
But that doesn't even seem.
I'm anti-dentist. I'm scared.
That doesn't seem. I am too. I like have a dentist phobia.
Yeah, I go to the one down the street that puts you to sleep.
I mean, like, don't tell me I have gum recession. I'm on estrogen. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Body shape shifts independent of weight gain. Yeah. That's gravity. But anyway, that's
and what I just said, like the fat that you have in your body, even if you don't gain any weight, it redistributes. And you start getting that menopausal belly, the meno belly.
Yeah, it's something that I cannot get rid of.
Some people call it the menopausal apron, if you will.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't go anywhere, but I just have to remember that it also protects my organs, I guess.
No, it doesn't protect your organs. We don't want it there.
But it's there. And when I do every single thing right that I'm doing, but biology is telling me it's too bad. It's just going to be that way. So let's just see what happens when I introduce the hormones back in and see.
I mean, I don't know when we're going to get into all of this.
We're getting there very
close. But I will tell you what happened to me.
We're going to get there. We're going to get right there.
We're going to get right there.
Hormones and neurotrans. We've talked about that. The ringing in the ears. That's one that I didn't realize. I just thought, well, that was bad. Or the thing where you're sitting there and you're like, and it feels like someone's got, like they're poking you in the inside and you're just, and
you're like, what's going on?
Your husband's literally like, what is wrong with you? Did you get stung? No, I got zapped inside my ear.
It's the most ridiculous thing. It's just like, why are my ears itchy and my leg skin sloughing off and my ringing in my ears
and a vagina
mood swings
and a zing.
And my shoulders stuck in one place? And I don't understand.
The electricity that goes.
Yet all that most people recognize as menopause, including clinicians, is hot flashes and mood swings.
Yeah, so there's probably an answer if you're feeling something.
If you're feeling something.
Anything. Crawling, that. All of the dry eyes, night vision.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I went to the eye doctor myself. Chronic dry
eye. This one is one that's really comes out to me. Sudden drop in alcohol tolerance, hormone versus liver. My panels are beautiful for like my liver and all my da-da-da. But I would really think that I'm giving myself alcohol poisoning every time I drink. And it can be 1.5 glass. I had an IV guy at the house and my husband's like, oh, there's not even half a bottle gone. Like, what party did you have by yourself? And I'm like, that's all it took, I guess. I was so dehydrated.
Yeah. Alcohol tolerance definitely goes down, sometime in midlife. And I mean, it's probably a blessing in disguise, right?
I do think that's how I think about it. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just kind of getting answers that I've always wanted when I'm like,
I mean, there's a lot of
hungover,
longevity and health span experts that are on the I don't drink anymore train. And I kind of want to be on that train, but I kind of really like wine.
But you're very good at limiting. I'm like a rock star. Like, I'm not going to stop. If I start, I'm not stopping until I stop.
No, I'm good at limiting. And I can't remember. One of my very best friends, I was sitting at dinner with her, and she was so funny because she's like, "You've barely drank any of that wine." And I was like, "I know. I just like to savor it." And she's like, "You're like the only person I know that literally drinks because you love the flavor." I'm like, I genuinely just love the flavor. Yeah.
I love the flavor of everything, but also love the effects. I just don't like the after effects.
I don't like a foodie. I just love to eat. Like, my husband knows that my entire life it revolves around food.
You like and food. Drink.
I just love tastes. I love tastes.
I
love good tastes.
I think we've really hit everything on this. I'm going to skip right past that. I do have a question.
Okay.
And it kind of goes back to what we had talked about at the very beginning of the episode, which was NADs.
NAD.
So we were talking about how good your skin looked and how I'm jealous. And
which is silly because your skin looks awesome too.
I appreciate that. I think we always want to improve on what we well, we don't all want it, whatever. If you feel like improving and you're trying to figure out how to stay ahead of the game without hacking into our bodies with like, cosmetic facelifts and all that stuff. And we just want to enhance what we have right now.
I love that word.
Naturally enhance ourselves. NADs. How does an NAD decline with age and how does it affect energy? And tell me about the precursor that you have for an NAD.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the year that we met.
Yeah.
2020, the year of COVID. I didn't know anything about NAD. I got COVID. I'm a healthcare provider, needed to get back to work, felt like crap, and I'm like, what do I do? So I called one of those IV mobile units that you were talking about earlier, and I was just like, hey, give me, because I heard they had good COVID cocktails, like whatever that was. It turned out it was like a regular banana bag, and then they added something called glutathione, and they added something called NAD.
So good.
Yes. And I was like, okay, well, like whatever it is, just give it to me. And so she gave me the bag, and she warned me. And it was not inexpensive. But again, it was COVID times. I wanted to get better quick. She warned me that when she put the NAD in my vein, it was going to cause some chest discomfort that might be similar to a heart attack.
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect. That's great. So true to her word, the NAD starts going in, and I'm like, oh, okay. It was extremely uncomfortable, to a point where I did end up doing it one other time for another case of COVID, but really never again because expensive and uncomfortable. But because of that, I was like, what did I just put in my body, right? So I started doing research on NAD, which is short for something. We don't need to go into that. And I realized that it is something that has been studied to be a key to longevity, at least in mice, for a very long time now. So it's just like, oh. So I started doing more research, and there were actually some pretty good publications on the use of NAD in longevity. So I decided I was going to start taking NAD in a precursor form.
Yes.
So I did some research on what the best precursors were on the market. There's two common ones. One's called NMN. That's Mouse, Nancy. And the other one's called NR, nicotinic riboside.
Nicotinic riboside.
Riboside. So, of course, I bought them both because that's what I do.
Of course, you need to.
And they were like, I don't know, $150 a month for just those supplements. But I felt pretty strongly that I'm like, okay, like there's some pretty good research that shows that this might help me to live more healthfully for longer. It basically helps to increase ATP production, which decreases as we age. And ATP is what causes us to have energy. So if our ATP is decreasing as we age, our cellular energy is decreasing. So increasing cellular energy is really important if we want to feel better as we age. And these were all things that I didn't actually really think about that much until 2020. And I was like, oh, that totally makes sense. Sign me up. So I was taking these two precursors along with a bunch of other things up until last year, 2024, when my estrogen had left the building. I started all of a sudden, bye, like for the last time, because I had, I was already on testosterone, I was already on progesterone. I knew where I was in the menopausal phase. I knew when my last period was, and I knew the minute that my estrogen had like done its last dance, right? So I was like, okay. But I don't know why. I needed to read all of the studies for myself before I decided that estrogen was right for me. And that's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about this, because even as a medical provider for over 2 decades, I couldn't find the answers that I was looking for myself on whether estrogen was safe for me as somebody who is homozygous, meaning I have both genes for a blood clotting disorder called factor V Leiden. Super important because like 10% of the Caucasian population has it. So you might have it if you're listening. And then I also was not convinced I was on the right dose of testosterone and could not find those answers for myself.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Even in the best medical
literature.
Yes, the best medical references that I had available to me at the time, I couldn't find the answers that I was looking for. So that's why I went on this last like year and a half long journey of taking, I've completed 3 courses now in women's hormone health, perimenopause, menopause, all of these things. The last one being the very best before, I was just like, okay, like I have all of this information, and I kind of digressed a little bit. But bringing it back around, I wasn't yet sure if estrogen was right for me. So I went without estrogen for about 3 or 4 months. It was shockingly bad how quickly the fat cells redeposited from my leg area, my booty area to my stomach area, and how my skin started sagging. Like, and when I say shocking, I mean shocking, like to the point where I wanted to cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Like, I'm doing all of the right things. Like, I work out almost every day. I lift weights, like I lift heavy weights. I eat food that I view as fuel. I hydrate my body. I'm taking progesterone, testosterone, all of my biometric markers are great. Like, I'm at a healthy weight. My BMI is fine. My blood pressure is great. My blood sugar is great. All of these things are great. Yet somehow I'm developing this belly, and my skin started getting saggy at warp speed. And I was like,
you said it warp speed.
It was a warp speed. So the next time I had a visit with my provider, I was like, sign me up for estrogen. So like I said, I went like 3 or 4 months without estrogen. And then she started me, and I thought that was going to be the magic, the magic bullet.
Yeah.
And I went a couple more months from when I started on estrogen, had some mild symptoms at the beginning because like I'm introducing something in my body that hadn't been there for a little bit, but overall pretty well tolerated. Got to a dose where I was like, okay, I think this is probably the dose. I don't like, we really monitor estrogen with like hot flashes. I wasn't having hot flashes anymore. Like mood swings were pretty good, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, this is probably fine. Belly fat was still there. I felt like my strength was still diminished a lot, even though I was on testosterone and had been on testosterone for like probably 2 years already at that point. My skin was just saggy, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I started Googling peptide clinics near me, and there's one near us. So I started doing the research on synthetic prescription peptides. And there's tons of them. And we're not going to get into that today. But I started doing the research, and I found that they're pretty expensive. Now, you can get synthetic peptides on what we like to call the gray market, which means maybe they're fine, maybe they're not. We're not really sure where they're made. But they're not prescribed to you by a medical provider. They're not,
like Amazon.
Right. Like, okay, like my friend said that this is a good brand, so I'm probably going to trust it type thing. Or you can go to a medical provider who's skilled in peptides and prescribes them to you, and they're very expensive. You have to get your blood drawn with quite a lot of regularity. Yeah. Like, there's just a lot of expense. And then you have to pay for the office visit.
And blood work is not cheap.
Blood work's not cheap. Your insurance isn't going to pay for it. That. And these peptides work. Like lots of billionaires and celebrities have been using them for a long time.
That's how they all look like that.
Right, because up until recently, they were very cost prohibitive to get any of these synthetic peptides. Like, most people just couldn't afford them. But I was at my wit's end, and I was just like, belly fat, muscle going away, skin sagging, like, what can I take? And I was like getting ready to make my first visit when I heard about this new complete startup company coming up called Make Wellness. And they were claiming that they had the first ever bioactive peptides.
I bet you were like, let me see.
That's exactly what I was like. I was like, okay, let me see. So they hadn't launched yet. This was like September, October of just last year. They hadn't launched yet, and one of my very good friends, Christina, was the one that told me about this company. And I really trust Christina. She is a very smart businesswoman. She was a lawyer. I worked with her in my last business. She's a wonderful leader. Just really stand-up person that I admire a lot. And when she presented it to me, I was like, well, let me at least look at it. But I heard the word peptide and I literally got like head to toe like chills because that's what I had been researching for the last several months. Like I'm like, that's the next step. That's the only other thing I can add to this crazy, regimen that might make me feel like myself again. Because let's face it, like I'm postmenopausal and I'm not even yet 50. Like I was like barely, past 45 at that point. I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Like I'm not an old grandma. Like I've got lots of life to live and I'm going to do some peptides.
Yeah.
If I have to.
If I have to.
So I started looking at what their biochemists, what their science team were presenting. And I loved that I could rely on my good old-fashioned biology degree, from the late 1990s and all of those words.
From the 1900s.
Yeah, back the kids are saying now. But like I very easily started understanding everything they were saying because I already had that basis of knowledge. And I'm like, if this stuff works even a fraction as well as the synthetic prescription peptides, why wouldn't I try?
Yeah.
Because they're so much more cost effective and they're safer.
Yeah.
They're made from things found in nature.
Yeah.
So the thing that I liked best about them is we know that synthetic peptides, so it actually includes GLP-1s. GLP-1s are synthetic peptides and GLP-1s are all the rage for weight loss.
Okay, that's the shot.
That's the shot. And that's not actually what I was looking into. I was looking into things more to like increase lean muscle mass and increase skin elasticity and like some like fancier, like bougie type boutique things, not GLP-1s. But those are a peptide. I mean, insulin's a peptide, for diabetes. But these are found in nature, which means that their half-life, meaning the amount of time they're actually spent in your body, is very short. So they get in your body, they signal your body to do what it's intended to do, and then they get out of your body. Whereas these synthetic prescription peptides have a very long half-life. So I don't want to like pick on GLP-1s, but just, GLP-1s, I'm trying to think, tirzepatide, I think the half-life is 5 days. And if I'm wrong, then this is just an example.
That takes forever to get out.
Right. So if the half-life of something is 5 days, then that means that if it's dosed every 7 days, you're getting more and more and more dose in your body every single time you take it, if you think about it. Because the half-life means the amount of time it takes for half of the product to leave your body. So say you take 5 milligrams of tirzepatide, that's Mounjaro. Zepbound is the other name for it. By day 5, 2.5 milligrams is still left in your body. By day 7, I'm just like making up math now. It's like, I don't know, 1.75 milligrams. Then you inject yourself again. So you're giving yourself another 5 milligrams, plus you still have that little bit that's left. And like there's a cumulative effect with drugs with long half-lives. And I'm very well versed in half-lives because working in infectious disease, we do a lot with half-lives in terms of antibiotics and antivirals and all those things.
You want it out.
So I heard that buzzword, quick half-life. Gets in, does what it's meant to and gets out. Like there's no buildup. So I felt very comfortable not only taking it myself, but like telling other people like, hey, like I don't see any downside to trying this stuff because it's made only from things found in nature and like the complementary ingredients in these products are phenomenal. And when I'm talking about complementary ingredients, I'm talking about things that aren't peptides. So a peptide is just a short chain of amino acids. That's all a peptide is. If it's a longer chain of amino acids, that's protein. Everybody knows what a protein is. Mm-hmm. Lots of things are proteins. Everything is made up of proteins and peptides, really. But it took AI to figure out what we needed to make these peptides work for us.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing. That's the question people ask. Like, if they've been around for millions of years or billions of years, like, why haven't we done anything with them before? Because it would have taken hundreds of thousands of years to find the exact right one to cause fat loss or to cause muscle gain or to cause energy production. But now, because AI, for better or for worse, it's here to stay. Mm-hmm. And so let's use it for the better. Let's find these peptides in nature that do the things that we want them to do that we can also feel really comfortable that we're taking safely.
Yeah. That's the thing about that I like everything that you say about it. It's when it's in and out. So even if it's something where you go, well, it didn't agree with me, which I don't know how that would, but if it didn't agree, it's not staying around for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's, from what you've said, you've looked at all of the science behind it. And as a professional, what's really reassuring to me is how many other professionals have gone and are also using these products.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it'll be kind of like with me, I see you up close. Now how long have you been taking that?
So I was just looking the other day, and
it's like October.
I've been taking it. They weren't available to actually purchase. I don't think I started taking them until November.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Like 10 months.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I saw your skin up close, because like I said, your videos were not doing anything. And again, it's like, oh yeah, there's Laurie. She looks great. But it wasn't until I saw the skin like around your eyes and just a lot of plumpness. Your lips even,
which is crazy because I'm always like, oh, should I get lip filler? But my mom made me promise to never, ever, 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 ever get lip filler.
I did it one time. Okay, fun side story, just 2 seconds. I did. Curtis had always said, I don't care what you do. Please just don't mess with your lips or your butt. And so I said, cool, I can do that. I've never had a butt, but I'll squat myself a butt. And I did. He went out of town and he was hunting for a very long time. Yes.
Were
and
our husbands hunting together?
I don't know where he was gone for like 9 days. I avoided FaceTime. I didn't pick up the phone.
No, I remember.
And finally it was like day 7 and he's like, let me see your face. Why were you not FaceTime with me? And I was like, I'm so sorry. And obviously, I had beat myself up for like 4 days. I was crying. And I did this at my 20-year high. I got my lips injected on like Thursday, and it was our 20-year high school reunion that Saturday. So I had all this bruising. My lips were so huge. And then I just was like, I learned my lesson. My lips are fine. What is this obsession with? It's all good. I love your lips. In fact, my friend Cody, I'm like, get them big. I love looking at them. I think, oh, that's so cute. I love
looking at them too.
It does not look good on me. And I always smile a lot.
But like, I love your compliments, particularly because like 10 years ago, I went through this whole phase where like, I just had the crepiest skin ever below my eyes. And 10 years ago, I was 10 years younger. Right?
Oh, yeah, they're not crepey now.
And like the fact that you just said that my under eyes aren't bad, like full transparency, I tried to get filler under my eyes. That was a disaster.
I've done it.
It was an absolute disaster. I've tried like every like cream, lotion, potion, whatever, and nothing ever worked. But now I've been on this stuff for 10 months, and I'll say, you got to give it like 60 to 90 days because these are natural products that are signaling your body to do the things that it is supposed to do, but maybe not doing so much anymore. And after like 60, 90, maybe even 120 days, like it's like, I'm not only am I feeling the difference, I'm seeing the difference.
Yeah, it's I'm staring at you while you're talking to me, and it looks like I'm staring at you, but I am looking at it's just the skin under your eyes. It was instantly,
really
when you put really like lotion on and you've just done your nighttime routine and or whatever, even if it's just face wash and lotion, you feel like $1,000,000. But after the lotion absorbs in and 2 hours are gone, you have like this lasting effect, and you've been at work and you're still looking. And the last time when we were in the kitchen, you were about to go home and work out. You hadn't eaten or something. And I'm like, it was not optimal for having beautiful skin.
It was
That's not optimal.
Yeah, and I actually don't wear face makeup. So what you see is what you get.
So what do you think about these oral bioactive peptides? How do they go with digestion? Like, I know that a lot of times you'll take something and then you'll hear from a physician or some expert, and they'll be like, oh yeah, well, as soon as they touch your stomach, the stomach acids just burn them up, and they don't actually have anything happen.
Right.
How do they do with digestion? but not digestion.
I understand what you're saying. So how do they survive the digestive tract?
Yes.
Yes. So that is the big thing. And the reason why, again, I'm not, not picking on insulin or GLP-1s, but the reason why insulin and GLP-1s are injected is because they don't readily survive the digestive tract. Now, these were developed specifically to be accessible to the masses, which means they need to be at a good price point and they need to be easy to obtain. When you're talking about synthetic peptides, they're nearly always injected. Not always. Sometimes some synthetic peptides you can take orally because they're for digestion.
Yeah.
So that's different. But most of them are injected and they're expensive. So that makes it not accessible to a lot of people. So this company is like, how do we develop something that is effective yet can get into our body
and is
easily?
more affordable than going to the
So much more
injection
affordable.
spa.
And so they used biochemical techniques called encapsulation and cleavage sites. I can't believe I just pulled that out of my booty. Like, I didn't know this question was coming. But anyway, they use those things so that basically our peptides, the peptide that we need is encapsulated in a bigger peptide that we don't need. So I know. So when it goes through the digestive tract, it breaks down the peptide we don't need with the cleavage sites. Cleavage means like break apart. So it has these cleavage sites, and it's in the encapsulation, it's broken apart, and then it's able to deliver the peptide that we do need to the right place. So there's a lot more science to it, but that's like the kind of like
this is what we need to. So even if you don't understand the science,
what I'm saying is that they've developed biochemical processes that a very large science team has described, honestly, ad nauseum to us. Any of us that have been involved with this company can tell you that we actually have a science lecture every single week. So they have my heart right there because I'm like, they're educating non-medical, non-science people on how to teach someone else that this is really going to work. It's really going to survive the digestive tract.
Yeah.
Which I think is so cool. So you don't need to understand the science, but you need to understand that they've thought this through. We're not trying to like give you something that's not actually going to work.
That's not actually, and this is not like a caffeine. Yeah, these are.
It's not. It doesn't even make sense. And now, at this point, the results are undeniable. So it doesn't matter.
How does someone who is looking at bioactive peptides, which you said there's only a few of them on the market that are like I'm sure that there's a ton of them. I'm sure you can find TikTok shops and all sorts of stuff. You can find them. How do you judge the supplement quality?
That's a good question. So I always, and this is just supplements in general, I always look for third-party tested. So that means that they've got somebody else outside of their company looking at the product and making sure it is what it says it is, and it does what it says that it does.
Unbiased.
Right. It's unbiased. So it's kind of like if you're in medicine or in science, you want a peer-reviewed study. Like you want somebody else looking at it. You don't want to just like publish something and be like, here's my research.
Here's my stuff.
Like you want other people looking at it too.
Yeah, and to help you.
Yeah. And the thing I love about this company is they actually continue to do the research.
Yeah.
And they're partnered with an even larger company out of, I always get this wrong, it's either Australia or Ireland because they both have really cute accents. It's one or the other. That is the one that developed the AI technology that we use to bring the peptides to life.
So tell me about the different peptides that are offered through this company.
Yes. So the company is called Make Wellness. I love the name. I think it's beautiful. The Make is actually trademarked. So I think I love it. It's like Make Wellness, make, make whatever. I just love that.
So as far as the peptides that they offer, they have not the ones they have. So there's like, tell me the different products.
There's 6 products right now. 4 of them are peptides. Our 5th peptide will be coming out next month.
That's very exciting because I've started all of these because.
And I actually can probably talk about the 5th peptide because by the time this airs, it will be available. Yeah. So I'm going to start with lean because I alluded to that is kind of part of my hormone journey. Mm-hmm. So I told you guys that I was at my wit's end. I was doing research on synthetic injectable peptides, so freaking expensive. And I'm like, do I really want to spend like at least $1,000 a month on this? I'm not really sure, but I was at my wit's end and I was like, maybe, I don't know. And so then this stuff came out. The lean peptide is our fat loss peptide. So I'm going to compare it for just a second to a GLP-1 because everybody knows what GLP-1s are. GLP-1s are a peptide that are taken by injection and cause a significant amount of weight loss for a lot of people. Now, just as a backstory, a GLP-1 is a diabetes medication. The weight loss is a side effect. So people are basically taking a diabetes medication, hoping for the side effect of weight loss. Now, side effects don't happen the same for everyone. So just because Tammy over here loses 50 pounds on tirzepatide doesn't mean that Susan over here is going to lose 50 pounds. She might lose 10.
I did not realize this. And you've already said this before, but I really did not realize that they were just going on this, which is great. But I mean, you can also get a side effect from anything.
Yeah. So, but don't get me wrong. Like I prescribe GLP-1s. I prescribe GLP-1s for my diabetic patients. I prescribe GLP-1s for my morbidly obese patients that, really would benefit from losing a significant amount of weight. Now, I stress the word weight. And the difference between a GLP-1 and our lean peptide is the weight loss with our lean peptide has been clinically proven to be 100% fat loss.
Yeah.
So with GLP-1s, you lose both lean body mass, which is your muscle and your bones, plus fat, whereas with our lean peptide, you're only losing fat mass. And 65%, up to 65% of that fat loss can be around the belly. So when I was finally at my wit's end and I was looking down at my once flat stomach, like pretty much always flat. I've always carried my weight more around my hips and thighs. That's just where I have. And I'm looking down at my belly with my seatbelt on and it just doesn't look like mine anymore. I'm like, I got to do something. So I started the lean peptide. And of course, with a clean diet and with my normal workout routine, which I've always done, nothing really changed. Like I've always eaten, pretty well. I've always worked out, but like nothing changed there. I started the lean peptide. I would say in like 6 weeks, my menopause belly was gone. It was gone.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Which is pretty remarkable. But the best part is, like I said, it targets about 60% belly fat. And with that belly fat comes visceral fat. Visceral fat is the deep fat within our abdominal cavity and especially embedded in our internal organs that can cause
like covering
disease. Oh,
this.
yes.
It's like the stuff that's literally covering, right?
Yes.
Not the stuff that's like out here.
Not the stuff that's out here. It's the stuff that's in here.
This stuff
that can cause people to have heart disease.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have a product that doesn't cause us to lose lean muscle mass, but still can lose a significant amount of fat loss, like I'm just like, sign me up.
In a natural form.
In a natural
as
form.
Well.
So the peptide is just baker's yeast peptide. So really the only prerequisite to tolerating the lean peptide is if you tolerate baker's yeast. Like if you're allergic to baker's yeast, okay, maybe not so much.
So gluten.
No, not gluten.
Oh, no, not
baker's yeast is not gluten.
It's not.
No,
gluten.
I'm actually gluten sensitive. So that wouldn't go so well for me.
Yeah, no. So there's the lean and then there's the fit, which is the one that I'm really super interested in, which I just got all of mine in.
And fit is the reason why I signed up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about lean first because I told you guys, I alluded to the belly fat situation. And a lot of people are in that same situation and they want to hear that. They want to know that. And the other thing that I just want to impress upon you really quickly, because I think it's super important, is, again, I'm not knocking GLP-1s, but when you take a GLP-1, if you stop the GLP-1 and you gain the weight back, you're not going to gain muscle back and fat back. You're just going to gain the fat back.
Yeah.
So in essence, if you're on a GLP-1, the plan is to stay on it. And if you are not going to stay on it and you gain the weight back, you've basically recompositioned your body in a negative way.
In a negative way. You got rid of the muscle and not you got rid of muscle.
Correct.
And
so now
fat.
your body fat percentage is actually higher because your muscle mass is lower.
Was gone.
Like if you do the math.
It did it refilled in the gap where the muscle loss was.
That's
and you
exactly what happened. And so then we've got a population, truly a population, because tens of millions of people are on these that are going to be over fat or under muscle. Correct.
With less muscle.
So that's scary to me because muscle has been shown over and over and over again to truly be the fountain of youth, to be the key to our longevity, and to be the key to our good health into our 70s and 80s and 90s and maybe even beyond. So this next product, in my opinion, is like, it's my favorite product that I've ever taken in my entire life. It is our Fit Muscle Building Peptide. And the reason why I love it is because it's 5 times more effective than whey protein at generating muscle protein synthesis.
That's good.
4 times more effective than creatine. And it works synergistically with those. So still use your whey protein, still use your creatine, use the Fit. Freaking keep that muscle, build that muscle through your 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, because that is what is going to keep you healthy and strong for a lifetime.
And we lose how much muscle?
We lose, after about age 35 to 40, we lose about 8 to 10% of our muscle mass per decade.
So it's really...
Do the math by the time you're 70.
If you're trying to build the muscle, really, we just need to really just be keeping that freaking muscle. Like, it's good to build it, but... we're just trying to not lose it.
Right.
When we're losing weight.
If your goal is to live as healthfully for as long as possible, if your goal is to play with your grandkids or your great-grandkids, if your job, or if your goal is to be productive in your job to old age, muscle is the key to everything. So this is not like a quick fix. Like, you're not going to take this for 4 months and get jacked. The goal for me is to keep the muscle I have.
Yeah.
And luckily now, with the advent of in-body scanners and of course DEXA scans that you can get outside of a doctor's prescription even, I go to a place called DEXA Fit and I get a DEXA scan once a year. I can tell that even though I'm postmenopausal, I've been gaining muscle. And that is like the best gift I could ever give myself. And it's not something that, like, you have to be invested to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, it's just not a quick fix. You have to be invested to do it. Like, lift some weights, eat some protein, and take this Fit Muscle Building Peptide. And it's
and it's okay if it doesn't make any sense to you right now. The information is there for you. This is also where you have a lot of women in our groups and our circles, because of where we are in life, who are just sick and tired of feeling sick and fucking tired. And we're looking at ways to make ourselves feel the best we can, because we've already decided we're not going to live feeling the way we want to.
Right.
A lot of us have already put in a lot of work to feel optimal, to set ourselves up for a healthy future. And it's like we're fighting biology. And
Absolutely
these are things that can help, which they always tell us, you're always fighting the clock. But, when you take it apart from like hair and makeup and the way we look, it's about how we feel,
yeah,
too.
I mean, that's all like secondary, right? Because like when it comes down to it, man was not created to outlive their ovarian function by double, which now we often are. So if we're going to already live that long anyway, into our 80s or 90s, or even to be a centenarian, how do you say that word?
Centenarian.
I don't know. If we're going to live that long, like, why don't we feel good doing it? You know?
Yeah.
And so these are the ways that I found, and this is what I've really invested most of my free time researching, is like, what are the keys to longevity? What are the keys to health span? What are the keys to, preserving your hormonal health through midlife and beyond? Like, what are the benefits of that? And I found that these products are just like they're genuinely the best things that I have discovered.
That you've discovered.
That I've discovered. And not to mention, they actually taste really good.
This one's been really good. I have a question, Nick. If we go over like 15 minutes, do you have 15 extra minutes?
I have a little bit. I have to get Cooper. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, what? If we have a couple extra minutes?
That's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. So on that one, there was the hydration, which I never really got hydration until I was with Beachbody and I had COVID and I was sick, feeling all pneumonia, and I just quit smoking cigarettes and I was trying to feel better, and I called you and you're like, have you drank your hydrate? And I was like, I didn't buy that crap. Like, why would I buy? But I drank it the next day. It didn't cure my COVID. It took the burning out of my lungs. I kept saying, like, I feel like my lungs are on fire. I feel like my heart's on fire. And it took the inflammation. And it was at that moment that I became addicted and hooked to hydrate because of I always say the quercetin. I drank it all day, all night. I pushed it onto people and
Hydration is so important.
It is so important, but not all hydrations are created equally. And I know that because of sports.
Yes.
Vincent, and all of the hydration things that, look, Gatorade is amazing with sports and all that, but just for daily hydration, you don't need to be drinking a Gatorade or a Powerade or
right. Well, lots of those things have added sugar. So that's the reason why I switched from the same product as you, the Beachbody Hydrate, to this hydrated, because it's 0 sugar. It's 100% just natural. It's obviously electrolytes, and then some minerals, glycine, which helps to optimize your cells and produce cellular energy, another cellular energy producing thing right here. But the best part is it optimizes your cells to receive the peptides. So if you're taking the fit peptide, if you're taking the lean peptide, or what she's actually drinking is the energy peptide, your cells are being optimized to receive the peptides by the amount of electrolytes that are in this solution, which is pretty cool.
Well, and the energy is really good because we know that we really do. I mean, ATP is the energy. ATP. So we know that we are energy, and we know that we project energy. We know that we take in energy, and it is just really nice to kind of feel like my cells are
I feel 100% more just like balanced when I'm hydrated. Yeah. And I take care of, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
And I take care of a lot of patients who work outside for a living. So, I mean, imagine working outside in the 100+ degree heat for 12 hours a day, and you're only drinking water. Like, yeah. Okay, so they're getting water into their cells, but they're losing their sodium and potassium and chloride through sweat. So they're still getting dizzy. They're still having headaches. Like, the number one concern that people come in to see me for over the summer is fatigue, headaches, dizziness. And I'm like, do you ever put electrolytes in your water? Because they're like, I'm drinking tons of water, Laurie, because we're in Texas. They know to do that.
Yeah.
No, they're never putting electrolytes in your water. It just makes you just feel balanced.
Oh yeah, you can tell when you're dehydrated versus, especially I guess after your 30s, when you start to realize everything. Yeah,
you don't notice it when you're like in college.
No, but it's 20s, like all of a sudden you're like, I don't feel, and then you have an IV and you go, oh, whoa, like, and then you have an IV when you're not hungover. You just go and you get an IV, like a wellness one, and you go, oh wow, like I feel like I can walk around and on the clouds, and I can handle any stress in life.
But to circle back around to the whole skin thing. I think that this, I swear, this is what's causing my skin to just be like
glowy, dewy harmony.
Yeah.
So as far as the stress, there's also a calm, which I will say out of all of them, as soon as I got this stuff in, you know how it happens when you get home from summer break or vacations. It always takes a long time to get back into your routines, to start your stuff. But the one thing that I did do, I have done multiple times, is the Calm, the one that I just put under my tongue, which is really like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so sour, but it's kind of like a candy.
Yeah.
But I've done that one, and it really does.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's calmed me down, but I know that I don't care.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, I'm still like functioning. I don't feel like I'm on Xanax or anything.
Not at all. Not at all.
Just all of a sudden, I'm carrying on. That's the thing. I've carried on with life, and I don't have all that. And I did it at nighttime too.
Yeah, I love that. And it doesn't make you tired either.
No.
It just makes you like
calm.
calm.
Yeah, I wanted like a drink. I was like, I really want a drink. And I was like, why am I reaching for a drink? Am I really wanting a drink, or am I trying to like unwind for a drink? And I was like, I feel like I'm just kind of, I feel like I'm a little stressed. And I was like, probably shouldn't have a drink. Probably should. And then I was like, let me try this. And then I did it. And then, like I said,
it's just kind of fun.
I realized just now again that it's like, I just carried on. And
yeah.
Anyway, so we've covered the Energize. That's the other one.
Yes, the Energize that she's drinking. I'm obsessed with it. Super quick story. I've told you guys I've been on testosterone for several years. I was not able to get my prescription for about 2 months earlier this year. That's when I became an Energized believer. That's when I started drinking it every single day, because I was like, how am I going to make it through life without my testosterone? And just as a quick side note, testosterone is a controlled substance. So I can't prescribe it for myself. It's illegal. And I couldn't get in to see my doctor. So I was
that's it.
That was it. I was out of luck. My husband can't prescribe it for me. My friends can't prescribe it for me. Like, it has to be like my provider that's prescribing for me, and I couldn't get in. So I started drinking Energized every day. It actually has what they call a fatigue fighter peptide, which is actually made from whey peptide. So if you are whey sensitive, you may not tolerate it, but I'm whey sensitive and I can totally tolerate it. It's a tiny bit, so it's probably fine. But it actually gives you energy at a cellular level. Again, you keep hearing us talk about energy at a cellular level, which is so important. But it also helps to boost your neurotransmitters, serotonin and dopamine, to make you feel more balanced and happier, like lighthearted, with constant use, which is what I absolutely love about this. It actually attacks adrenal fatigue, which is the root cause of fatigue in most adults.
Yeah. Well, especially when your adrenals don't work very well.
Right.
Like,
So
apparently
it's like,
mine don't
and
at all.
what tanks our adrenals? Like drinking sugary sodas, to try to get the caffeine that way, or drinking sugary, what are the other things
Red
called?
Bulls and
the Red Bulls and stuff. Those cause your adrenals to tank. This actually supports your adrenals,
and
which
how much is
incredible.
How much is a Red Bull? Let's just go there.
Oh,
a
it's
Monster
more
is
expensive
like
than that.
$8. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
It's more expensive than that.
Yeah. So
it's more expensive.
It all goes to just kind of like the choices. And again, that's why it's just information. It's all just here. We're just providing information. We're really just answering questions to what we've been asked, what I've noticed women and men curious about, the same things that I see over and over that people are struggling with. And that's really what we're here for today, is to talk about stuff that you have knowledge about and you have a desire to share. That's always the best part, is whenever I have someone that is like, I have a voice and I want to help others.
And I haven't always been like that. You want to hear something really funny?
Yeah.
So I have like a huge fear of public speaking. This is my second public speaking appearance today.
Yes.
Which is funny. That Energized right there, I swear to you that like the second I put it in my body, I'm like, okay, what can I talk about? And I just talk on my stories, or I'm talking to Leslie, or, I talked on the call earlier. It has actually truly helped to support my mood and my energy to the point where I want to be present in teaching and educating in people's lives. And that is not something that I've always sought out. Like, I've always quietly like kind of had all of this like knowledge that I felt like maybe I wanted to share, but I didn't have the energy, or I didn't have the, like, I didn't feel like I was in a good enough mood, and now I just want to share, and I want people to know and have the resources that I have available to them.
I love it. I love it. And with that, I don't think this is the last time. I think this is the last time you see this setup. But I don't think this is the last time that we talk about women's health. I don't think this is the last time that we talk about body and how we can function optimally function.
Optimally.
I don't know how. That's what we're all looking for, is just to feel.
Oh, I almost forgot. I brought something for you. Can I give it to you?
Yes.
Okay,
of
so
course.
I obviously am a medical provider and a scientist at heart, but I'm also quite woo-woo.
Oh yeah,
and maybe next time we can talk.
That's what we will talk about.
About that. So
we'll go into
this
that.
This is a fluorite crystal.
I'm excited.
And this is for you. I'm very much
Thank
into healing
you.
stones. I actually have stones. I have one for myself too. I have stones around my entire house. Fluorite really helps with mood swings.
Oh, shove it in my bra.
Which I think
in
is
my
so
butt.
important, talking about perimenopause and where you're at in the transition. It also, though, helps with mental clarity. It helps with brain fog. It helps with all of those other things that we struggle with, and it just helps with like enlightenment. So, like, I hope that it helps you to,
It will. I'm
have
so
even more ideas for
thankful.
your podcast
Thank
and just
you.
become really clear on your goals and your path.
Thank you so much for your. This is very sweet, and I really appreciate you. Oh my gosh,
I'm gonna cry.
I
See, I'm
really
like totally
appreciate.
woo-woo.
I know, but that's it. I've told you, I've followed you several times, and you've yet to like. You just have really good advice. You have really good knowledge. You are just a really good wisdom-ish person, and you inspire me.
Aw.
And that's just. I think that the world deserves to know Laurie and all of these different aspects of
all
her.
of the facets.
All the
I have
facets.
stones everywhere.
You're multidimensional. You're not just what I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just very thankful for you to be open to talk. And next time we're going to get into Reiki.
All right.
So we're going to have another podcast. And I think that we might we're going to take it off site. I think we're going to take this off site.
Maybe we should take it to my Reiki master's house.
I think
TBD.
that's what we do. I think that's what we do. We get it figured and set up because I'm excited. I'm always looking for ways to heal and feel better and stronger and just more well-rounded.
Oh my God. See, it's bringing you clarity already.
See, look at that. Thank you so much for giving us your time. If you're still hanging out and you're still here, send us any of your questions. Send anything that you can think of that you want to have clarity or more understanding on, or something you are embarrassed to talk about. Everything is pretty much anonymous. And just thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you. And we're good.
All right, we're good.